Welcome back to the Driveway Beers podcast with Mike and Alex. As always, we appreciate you listening. Please rate us on all the podcast platforms. Like, subscribe, comment, share wherever else you're listening, and enjoy the show. All right, welcome back to another episode. We appreciate you coming back as always. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share on any platform you're listening on. We want to thank Adam Chubbuck with techmd.com with his group Team Alpha Charlie with Douglas Realty. If you're looking for someone who can give you the personal attention that you need and the expertise in this kind of a market, you want to reach out to Adam at techmd.com, TACMD.com. This is a tough real estate market because right now the Fed is playing with reducing interest rates, but they haven't as of yet. So right now it's tough to decide whether now is the right time to buy or sell your home. But that's why working with someone who cares about your money as much as you do, like Adam, will help you in a market like this that has a lot of uncertainty that comes along with it. So go over to techmd.com, talk with Adam, and he will steer you in the right direction. This is going to be kind of a weird episode where we talk about some medical stuff. So normally we do a health update. So it's going to kind of be part that, but I've got a couple of gripes with the medical industry outside of our normal gripes. So recently, everyone here that listens to the show knows that I go to therapy. Once a month, I've met with the same person at least the last 4 years consistently, and I used to go to him, I think there was about a year off, and then there was probably another 4 years before that. Had a decent relationship with the guy. I don't know if he helped me through a lot. Like, I don't know. I don't know if he was working as a therapist for me. You know, I mean, and I'll kind of get to the personality issues I had with him, but this last month, so my appointment for May was supposed to be on May 21st, which is a Tuesday. I make the appointment 1 month before, so I made it April 15th, April 16th-ish. I get a text message from Athena Health, who he's affiliated with, on May 20th, saying, hey, you've got an appointment at 12:45 today.
The 20th.
Right. Not the 21st.
Right.
Now, I have had May 20th booked as a date since February because that was the golf outing I was running for our school, elementary school's PTO. I had to book that back in February. So there's no way that in April I would have booked a therapy appointment on May 20th because I had to be at the golf course on May 20th at 12:45 in the middle of the day.
That date was probably etched in your head pretty good.
Absolutely. It was in my calendar.
That date was etched in my head, and I didn't even go to the golf thing.
So I get to May 20th. I'm sitting at the golf course waiting for the golfers to come in, and at 12:30 I see the reminder text again. Now, when I was sent the other reminder text prior to that, days or a week before that, I see the reminder text saying, hey, you've got a therapy appointment. I was like, yeah, I know, it's coming up. I didn't look at the date it was saying, right? The date said May 20th, May 20th. I'm not looking at the date. I'm just saying, okay, I got to remember that I got the appointments in my calendar, May 21st. I'm not looking at the date in the text. I'm just deleting the text. Because I had no reason to believe that the date I had in my calendar was different than the one that he put into the system. Because he's the one the therapist is the one that's been putting it in the system. I didn't call an office. I didn't book online. I'm telling him the date through our Zoom call, and he's putting it in the calendar. So I'm telling him Tuesday, May 21st, and he probably put it in as Monday, May 20th.
Just fat fingered it.
Just messed it up.
Yeah.
So when I see the text message, I'm like, oh shit, that's today. I log into the system and I tell him, I say, hey, look, our appointment's for tomorrow. It's not for today. I just want to make sure you know that. He goes, no, it's in the system for today. I was like, there's no shot I would have made that appointment for today.
Yeah.
Because I've had this thing booked for 3 months. And he kind of got a little belligerent. He's like, well, you made a mistake and you're going to have well, do you want to rebook it for this week? I was like, I don't have any more time this week. I can't book it for this week. He's like, well, you're... And like, he was just getting kind of a little mouthy. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, first of all, what fucking therapist gets mouthy with his patient?
Yeah.
Like I'm a fucking kid. And so I was like, look, I can't. I was like, I'll just have to call and reschedule. I was like, I did not book it for today, though.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, you did. Look, motherfucker. I know how this went down, and you fat fingered it, you dumbass. Mm-hmm. So I let it go. I didn't. And then I get an email saying, you owe a cancellation fee. This cancellation fee is $100 fucking bucks.
So the dude didn't even have the stones to tell you to your face right there.
Right.
He goes and gets...
Athena Health sends it to me. So this big conglomerate now sends me a bill for $100 bucks. Mm-hmm. I have no recourse with this.
Yeah.
I sent a message through the system saying, hey, look, I didn't book it for the 20th. I booked it for the 21st. He fucked up.
Yeah.
Not me. So why should I have to pay $100?
Yeah.
Of course, he's the one that has to respond. And he says, he puts out, now he's doing like, well, first, we book it through the Zoom call. And I always repeat it back to you. So you should have known.
Rather than taking any ownership at all.
Like the 3 points, he's taking zero ownership.
Yeah.
And you got text messages, and you got a reminder the day of. The reminder the day of is the reason why I gave you the courtesy fucking call.
Yeah.
To say today's not the appointment.
Yeah.
And so in the message, though, he literally says, and I'll try and pull it up, but it essentially kind of, you should take responsibility for your actions. His words to me. Like, are you, like, I'm literally like, I'm at a softball field reading this.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, you motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like, you got the balls to charge me $100 when you know you fucked this up.
Yeah.
But you're not going to do that because you know it's going to cost you money. Because you could have filled that spot with somebody else. But now you're out that slot and you were out tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, I guess he had someone scheduled for tomorrow or for the next day.
Yeah.
Which was supposed to be my day. So anyway, like, I'm just like, I'm fuming right now. That I'm reading this. And, like, what do you do at that point? Like, Athena Health is going to come after me for this money.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, do I just pay the $100, end the relationship? Like, wait until you, there's a line in there where he's like, well, I hope we can continue to work together when you pay this.
You can go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Like, I was like, bros, I'm like, you think I'm still going to work with you after this?
Yeah, because you're not working with me because you fucked up.
Yeah. So he literally writes, first of all, he can't fucking type. He just talks about the timeline of 5 days, 3 days, blah, blah, blah. He goes, moreover, you waited until the date of the appointment to contact me. Like, no, I was telling...
No, I waited until 2 days before, or until the day before I was supposed to be there.
Correct. That's what I said. Consequently, I have determined that you are responsible for missed appointment fees despite ample opportunities to have resolved the situation earlier. He goes, e.g., so example, by writing down the appointment when we scheduled it in your personal calendar and double checking your portal after the appointment. Again, throwing it on me. Like, why would I check this if I thought you wrote down the right date?
Yeah.
while you are responsible for paying your missed appointment fee regardless, you are free to continue our work together or discontinue our work together. So he's like, it is my hope that you will take responsibility for your mistakes, honor your contractual arrangement with us, and continue our work.
What a dick.
Like, if that isn't condescending as fuck,
yeah,
I don't know what is.
So, as I understand it, medical bills, if they go to collections, don't affect your credit. So, fuck him.
So, I'm pretty sure you're right.
Yeah.
And you want to know what? If it goes to collections, if it goes to a collections department, Athena Health gets pennies on the dollar for that. They'll get like, I think they get $10 for the $100 bill.
Yeah.
So they'll only get $10. So he'll probably get nothing of that.
Yeah.
Athena's going to keep that shit.
Yeah.
And you want to know what? I think if a collections place contacts you and you don't respond or acknowledge the debt, they can't do shit about it.
Yeah.
You have to acknowledge the debt exists.
Yeah.
Because then it's they said, you said.
Yeah.
They said you have a debt. I say I don't. Or I don't say anything.
Yeah.
And I think it goes away from there. Now, I don't know if that's completely true because there are some debt collection agencies that, I don't know, they got that whole debt collection piece of shit people that say, oh, we'll get you out of debt and all this stuff. But I think by them doing that, they acknowledge the debt and therefore it's on you now.
Yeah.
I don't really know how exactly.
But I think you'd also do one of those, where you dispute it.
Right.
And this is a very clear-cut dispute. Like, this is really because this guy goes and you go schedule your appointment. He takes what you say and he manually enters it into his probably Outlook calendar.
Right.
Or whatever portal he uses that Athena Health communicates with.
Right.
They have no proof that you even read or acknowledged the text message that you received, that you even received it.
Right.
Right? So there's that. Yeah, I'd be like, screw you, dude. You can eat a bag of dicks, a whole bag.
So, I mean, the funny parts of this are funny to me. Like, you actually think I'm going to work with you after this? After you write that fucking condescending
Especially
shit?
being like that.
Yeah. Like, that's an asshole move.
Yeah.
Right? Like, one, you sent the fucking bill to begin with. Even after on the phone, I told you, I didn't schedule it for this day.
Yeah.
It's like, now you're trying to tell me to take responsibility for my part in this?
Yeah.
How about you take responsibility for yours?
Yeah.
You're essentially going to throw away a monthly paying patient for $100. Like, way to cut your nose to spite your face. Now, maybe he's just got clients coming out the ass and he really doesn't care. Looking to take the extra $100 and run, right? I don't know. But
Or he's just tired of your shit.
maybe. Could be. 100% could be. The weird thing to me is that in this whole medical process, though, where is my appeal in this? Was I wrote the appeal and he basically told me to fuck myself.
Yeah.
So if I dispute this, like, I have nowhere to dispute this.
Yeah.
They're basically just going to turn this over to a debt collection agency that he owes this. There's no way for me to say no, I don't.
Yeah. And that'll be a year down the line. That'll be a year from now before they do that.
But who's to say that any doctor's office can't do this to somebody?
Yeah.
Who's to say that they can't, like, this guy can't say that, random guy in the phone book made an appointment with me, didn't come to the appointment, and they're just going to send a collections bill to your house for
Or
it.
just schedule you for days that you weren't supposed to be there and then send you bills. Kind of like this.
Right. Right.
So
I like we rail on the medical system as it is, but this is a whole different avenue that we never talked about.
this is so like I don't know whether this guy works for himself or is part of a bigger practice.
He's part of a bigger practice. He's trying. The funny part, he's trying to go off on his own, and I was going to follow him to it, but fuck you. Not anymore.
Yeah. So I think, and a lot of it depends on whether whoever reports it or not. So a lot of these, you'd think they'd have, like the office lady, the office Karen, be the one that does all this stuff. Mm-hmm. But that way, it's like not the provider. You don't. If I have a gripe about the bill, I don't bitch to it with my doctor. I bitch about it to the office lady.
Right.
It's weird that they had this go in there. with this guy doing it, not having someone else handle that for them.
Yeah, outside of the first appointment, I've always made the appointment through him.
Yeah.
During the appointment, and sometimes we would schedule 2 months out, sometimes just 1 month out, and we were just scheduling 1 month out at this time. I mean, my wife and I were talking about me finding a new therapist. I mean, for me, it was mostly shit. Do I really want to start from scratch again?
Yeah.
With a whole nother person? But she's like, I don't think this guy's helping you because I wasn't getting any better.
Yeah. Well, and I think you have to go and look and see. Are you doing therapy for the sake of doing therapy because you've always done it and it becomes a habit? Mm. Or are you doing it because you're getting some benefit out of it? It doesn't sound like you're getting, at least to your wife's independent observation, that there was no improvement through it.
Yeah.
And I saw a therapist, it's probably been 2 years since I've seen her, and she set me down the right path, and I was good. Mm. I didn't need to continue anymore. I haven't continued. Mainly that year, I got baseball season started, I got busy. And then the summer hit and I was fine. And I've still stayed in touch with her, you know. I've referred other people to her. But I haven't been going as a regular patient. But she's there, like, in the, you know, in case I need to. But it's like, you know, I think that I saw a result and I'm going to keep going there. And, you know, for what? You know, if I'm seeing a result.
Yeah, and for me, I was still having the physical... I'm going to call them panic attacks. I don't know what it is. Mm-hmm. But even something as simple. So, like, back in March, we went up to New Jersey. And driving over the Bay Bridge, which is a really tall bridge. A lot of people have trouble driving over it. Usually for me, it was mild to mid, but I could get over it, right? I mean, white knuckle it, but you're getting over the bridge. This last time in March, I thought I was close to passing out. Mm-hmm. Like heavy, like I was doing the breathing and like had to have the kids quiet down. Like I had to focus directly straight down. Like couldn't look anywhere else.
Yeah.
Got over the bridge. We pulled over at the first exit so I could just catch my breath, right? We stopped, had some lunch. I was kind of fucked up for the rest of the weekend though. Like just had trouble just not feeling nauseous and sick, right?
Mm-hmm. Was there a big container ship down there at the time? Or?
It was not incoming. No. So that was a worse progression from where I was before. Mm-hmm. And now it's even to the point where if I'm driving, there are even some times where like I'll kind of like get disoriented a little bit. But even that, we have a littler bridge. We call it the Severn River Bridge around here for people that don't know. It's not very big. It's like 3 lanes wide on one side, 4 lanes wide on the other. But yeah. It's a very small bridge. Mm-hmm. And like one day when I was going to see it, I was going to another doctor's appointment, and like I kind of got the same like nausea, lightheaded a little bit. Like I was like to the lesser effect of the Bay Bridge, but it was still. It happened as I got to the bridge. I'm like, What the fuck is going on here? Like something inside is not operating properly for me to have a nervous panic attack going over this small shit bridge.
Right.
Like what the fuck is going on? So I'm clearly not getting better with this guy. And with this therapist, he was more, concentrating your breathing and, change your mindset of, the world is not ending. But for me, it was like, okay, I didn't think the world was ending.
Yeah.
I just, for whatever reason, I got to a point in the road and all of a sudden tingles started happening. Or I was in the middle of the night, tingles start fucking happening. Like, what the shit is going on here? And so that's when we decided, and I think this was like 3 or 4 weeks ago. It was 2 and a half weeks ago, up the Zoloft dose from 25 to 50. Mm-hmm. Now, apparently the 25 milligram dose is for fucking kids. Like, did anyone notice this? Because I've been on it for fucking three years since I went off of it.
So when I took an SSRI, I was on 5 milligrams. I forget the one it was.
Depends on which one it is, though.
Yeah, which one was it?
Was it Lexapro?
Yes.
Or Wellbutrin?
Lexapro.
Okay.
and that could be a more potent one, but
I heard it has less side effects.
yeah. But I'm no longer on it. I noticed a big change when I started with the testosterone therapy. That was a big swing, and then my therapist, she explained what was causing all of this, and when it all made sense, and that it's essentially a heightened fight or flight reaction is causing it. I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And then once I understood, like they still come, but I understood the why. So I was like, okay, I know what this is. I can get through it. And it was fine. But that's just I'm not saying that she was any better than one you had. Certainly nicer.
Sounds like, but here's the thing. It sounds like they are.
Yeah.
It sounds like your person was at least more knowledgeable.
Yeah.
And was like, okay, this is how we fix it. Not keep coming to me every month, for X amount of years, and we're not making any progress here. In fact, it's getting worse. Obviously, whatever. Like, I'm trying to implement what you're telling me to do. Like, there's only so much deep breathing you can do as you're like.
Yeah, and you can look up like what do they call it, square breath or circular breathing or whatever, whichever thing they're calling it now. Like, in for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4, like all that stuff. Like,
yep.
And that there's a physiological that helps calm you down.
Right. And even concentrating on the breathing is supposed to get your mind off of the thoughts that are ramping you up.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, though, if your brain just goes right back to the thoughts that got you ramped up, you're going right back to it.
Yeah. And that's what my brain would do. It would go back, and I'm like, okay, I'm ruminating. That's all I'm doing. I'm ruminating on the intrusive thought, and soon I'll stop. So, and I understood why it was happening. So okay, none of this stuff in my head is real. It's all stuff that I have to draw a million lines and cross and do this elaborate schematic to be a remote possibility. So, okay, I know what I'm doing, and then a couple of days it would be gone. So
for me, it's generally the most it's gone is a full 24 hours, to varying degrees, right? Most times it's the most intense over like a 3 or 4 hour period.
Yeah.
But another issue for me is that, like, even being away from home seems to make it worse. And I think one of the things for me is like one of the thoughts, and it's really tough to get rid of, is if something were to happen to me when I'm not home, how do we get home? Right? Because let's say I got to go to the hospital for something. Mm-hmm. Now the whole family's in the hospital, away from home. They're not comfortable dealing with what I'm dealing with in this random hospital I don't know. It's not the home one. It's not the one down the road. Where, granted, I'm not really familiar with that one, but at least I know it's close to my house, right?
Yeah, you're probably not in a place where, like, hey, can you watch the girls? We're dealing with this. Like,
bingo.
Yeah.
Right. There's help to deal with the responsibilities outside of me being in a hospital. Mm-hmm. Whereas if I'm in if I'm in a different place, like, we got a camping trip planned to go to, like, middle of Pennsylvania, middle of nowhere, right? That shit's freaking me out. Mm-hmm. Because it comes back to, well, what if something happens when I'm out there? What if I'm having a panic attack while I'm out there, right? And of course, the thought to counteract that is it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But shit, man, the last few times I've been away from home, like when I went to the New Jersey trip, I think fucked me up. Mm-hmm. There was a camping trip that fucked me up, and I can't get that shit out of my head.
Yeah.
And as much as I want to say it's not going to happen, in the back of my mind, it's like, well, you really don't have much control over this.
Yeah.
So, of course, the weeks leading up to it are fucking miserable because that's all I'm thinking. I'm thinking about that one scenario, right? So I need a therapist that can help me with this shit, whether it's medicine or whatever. I don't know, but I'm hoping. And look, if the beta blocker makes me fucking gain some weight, I don't know if the beta blocker is supposed to be event driven. So it's like, okay, you're getting on a flight. Right now, currently for flights, I use Xanax, and that generally will help me out. I still get a little fucking lightheaded going up, like up on a roller coaster. I think it's the up motion that kind of is what gets me. Like on a bridge, you're going up, and like on a roller coaster when I was a kid, it was the going up.
Roller coasters are designed to elicit that response.
Right.
That's part of what people find fun with roller coasters. I hate them.
Yeah, I can't stand roller coasters.
I hate all rides.
Yeah.
I hate rides for number one because I'm not in control of it. Number two, I hate rides because I don't fit in them, and all I see is like this big fat guy getting launched into oblivion to like kill some family when he lands. Like, oh, have another funnel cake, fatty. Like,
that's like my nightmare of being the naked guy in the shower during the earthquake when the house crumbles around him, and then when they pull him up, when the fire crew pulls him out of the house, he's the fucking naked guy in the earthquake. Yeah, that's a real fear, by the way. Yeah, because when we had the earthquake in Maryland, probably like a few years ago.
Oh, that was probably
it was like
12, 13 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. I was in the shower, naked, taking a shower while it happened. I'm like, fuck, this is my worst nightmare. Like I'm on the bottom floor of the house. It's all going to crumble around me. Like, okay.
But yeah, that was. I mean, there are probably some people that would be paralyzed in fear for that. So,
luckily, we don't get that many earthquakes.
Yeah.
If I lived in California, I might be paralyzed by it, but I'm not. But I think I need to find a therapist that can help with this shit, because the other guy obviously wasn't, because it's gotten worse from there. Now, whether the beta blocker is going to help, I don't know. I mean, the one he's prescribing is pranololone or something like that.
Is this guy a psychiatrist?
No, he is not.
So he's prescribing meds under someone else's.
No, he's an MD. Any MD can prescribe.
Oh yeah,
anything.
Yeah. No, I know that. I thought so. He's an actual medical doctor.
Okay, so it wasn't the therapist that's prescribing the beta blocker.
Okay,
it's the weight loss doctor. I'm going
right,
and he's not just a weight loss doctor. I mean, he's a doctor, but I'm going to him because he's willing to think outside the box with weight loss.
Well, and thinking outside the box is something that I think a lot in the medical profession don't do. I think most of them just. And I'm not trying to put down the school they went to and all that crap, blah, 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 blah. Now, a lot of them are really arrogant, but when I've seen them work and when I tell, and then I watch the doctor go and pull it up on whatever freaking high-speed version of WebMD they have and look and then throw drugs at it, it's like, well, I could have done that.
Right.
In fact, I did that before I came here. And you're just taking wild guesses based upon what I told you, just like I did.
Yep.
So what are we? And then all they do, like they just run labs and throw drugs at you. So they don't kind of, establishment medicine. That's what they're doing. And there's a reason why you see all these people. You see the like you first go in and you sit down. Well, first of all, you're going to wait for 30 minutes before you go anywhere.
Right.
Which always used to drive me, like, I'm 10 minutes late, so you're going to charge me a cancellation fee. But if I got in here 10 minutes ago, I would have sat here for 40 minutes as opposed to 30.
Right.
So that just comes out of the time you owe me.
Right.
So, now, that has not been me. I've heard it happen to people that, like, they were late to an appointment. They're like, oh, we canceled it, you were late. But I would have sat here waiting for...
The doctor's an hour late right now.
Yeah.
On appointments.
Yeah.
Technically, I'm not late to anything.
Right. Even Southwest sends you a text when they're running late.
Right.
So there's that whole piece of it. But then, you go in and you see the first person that comes in is like the tech. They're not a nurse. They're some sort of patient care tech.
The blood pressure.
They take your blood pressure and put you on the scale and blah, 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 blah. And then they leave. Then the nurse might come in. And they might do something else. And then the doctor comes in, and the doctor sees you for approximately 7 minutes and 14 seconds, and then rolls out. And then the nurse comes back in and gives you your discharge stuff and tells you to go, here you go, and you're done. So but that doctor is just going from room to room to room, so they need to see X amount of patients per hour to pay their bills because insurance only pays so much. So, it's they're in a bad spot too. They're forced to work in this system as well.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, like, they're not when they're in med school, no one teaches them anything about it. about the system they're going to be working in.
Right.
And, I was reading an article kind of similar to this, and there were doctors on there that said, by the time I realized how messed up it was, I was too far in and was just like, well, I'm going to be a doctor now. They were so far with money and time and, but no one ever told them, like, no, you have to negotiate the U.S. healthcare system.
Yeah. So I've got a little bit different of experience with that. I mean, when I go see the general practice that I go to, I don't even see a doctor. I see a PA.
Yeah.
And personally, I think I get better service from the PA than I ever do from the doctor.
My current one is a nurse practitioner.
Yeah.
And there's no rush. Now, my previous doctor, there was no rush with that person either, except they switched to that concierge type thing. Yeah. And I'm sorry, like, I'm not paying up front $4,000 so I can go see you. Well, it was for me and my wife because we went to the same place. So, like, I'm going to give you $4,000 when I go to see you maybe 3 times a year. Like, that's, to me, is not worth. So we can sit there and talk about shit longer.
Their idea, though, is that because they don't take insurance, you're paying on an annual basis your actual premium for insurance. I mean, you're probably paying close to $13,000 for that between you and your employer. That's covering part of it, right? So with that doctor, when they go to that plan, they're factoring, okay, you can drop your insurance, pay me $4,000. You're still going to make out $9,000. You're going to spend $9,000 less. But in actuality, though, you're not paying that premium. If you have an employee-based program, your employer's paying it.
Right.
It's a benefit, right? But I mean, that's how some of these premiums get so crazy in the first place, because the people aren't paying them.
Yeah.
It's and a lot of it has to do with public employees, right? The federal employees, the state employees, the states and the counties and the feds. They've got deep pockets to pay these premiums. And people go work for them for those benefits, but I think it boosts premium levels. Because they can pay them. Whereas, the average Joe who owns his business, he can't afford that.
Yeah. But here's the thing. When I go to the concierge doctor that I pay $4,000 a year to go to, what happens when I have to go to the GI?
Correct.
Like, I can't cancel my insurance. Is this person a GI? No. Well, not, and there's another thing is we are so overly specialized in medicine here. Like, you have your of all the doctors I've seen, like, so I have to go, I have like this lipoma thing on my neck I need to get rid of. I have to go see a dermatologist for that. Last year I had to go to the GI. And then in preparation for that, I had this, all the people involved in that, there was the radiologist, the anesthesiologist, my normal doctor, the GI, like all these people who were involved in this one thing, like all these little tiny specialties, you're going to have, and they're only getting more of them.
Right.
So, and then talk your family into it. Now, if you've got kids, you have a pediatric cardiologist, and you've got a pediatric this and a pediatric that. So and then if you have old people, now you've got the geriatric blah 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 and the geriatric blah blah blah. So, it's kind of, can we just be like the mob when you see the vet?
I mean, to be honest, like I think I counted out 6 doctors. So I've got the PA from my general practitioner's office, the other MD from the place I'm going to for the weight loss. That's number 2. GI for my IBS. ENT for my sinus and GERD issues. The therapist is number 5. And I think I have an oncologist because I had cancer some years ago.
Yeah.
So I go see him once a year still. That's 6 fucking doctors. Guess who has to coordinate all of the care and make sure all these doctors know when one of them makes a change?
You.
It's me.
Yeah.
And I don't, and like, like, for example, the doctor told me about a beta blocker. You want to know how much information he gave me on a beta blocker?
0.
It was like maybe 3 minutes of a conversation. It basically, it wasn't like, hey, this is what's going to happen. He just said that they're fairly well tolerated. So we're going to put you on one. I want you to try one at a low dose to see what side effects you get, if any. But really didn't get any instruction on how to use it from there. Let's say it works. Great. Okay, do I call you and do we up the dose? Do I use it during certain situations? Like, how am I using this drug?
Yeah.
And why isn't the Zoloft at the increased dosage handling this? Mm-hmm. Like, what's the point of this SRI? Isn't that what I'm fucking taking it for?
Yeah.
And then I got the prescription for the Xanax too, which I'm deathly afraid of because that shit's it's
a benzodiazepine.
What's it's a
depressant?
No, I know what the drug is. Addictive. That's the word I'm looking for. It's an addictive fucking drug if you take too much of it. Mm-hmm. Or take it too often. I'm already on a drug called Lamodal for the IBS, which, if my anxiety gets ramped up, that shit doesn't fucking work much either. But it's basically to stop me from shitting myself. Yeah. Like, think about it. I got to take a drug to stop me from shitting myself. Like, I'm not 90, and I've been taking this drug since I was in my early 30s.
Mm-hmm. And there's such a connection between the gut and the psyche and the head.
And none of them know what the fuck it is.
Yeah.
None of them know.
Yeah. Well, no one bothered to care or look.
Well, you want to know why they care? If they care? Because they want to find a drug that they can give you. Yeah. That's it. They want to make money off of it. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not saying, like, look, all of them individually are trying to do their best to try and solve some of these issues. And I get that. I'm not blaming them. It's the system in general that is designed to just fucking fail.
Yeah. And I think one of the issues, they're treating everything as like, I'm such an expert in this one system. And then the other guy is such an expert in this other system. But all of these systems in the human body work together to achieve a common goal, I guess, which would be to keep you alive, and remotely healthy and some of these other things. So, like, but if you're only focused on the one system, like you take your car to the mechanic, and rather than having the mechanic look over the whole, like, I think the mechanics have a better grasp on this than the doctors do. So, like, if you take your car to the mechanic and you're like, hey, my AC is not working. Okay. But you say, all right, well, here's the problem. The belt for your AC compressor snapped. We'll fix that. But if it was the medical profession, to be like, let's give it more Freon. Because that would be the one doctor that works only on the air conditioning system. And hey, let's give it some more charge. Let's make sure it's connected to power. Let's do all this other stuff. And they missed the belt because you didn't go to the belt doctor.
Right.
And the belt doctor would have seen that, the belt's not working correctly, But maybe it's not the belt. Maybe it's the pretensioner's base. So there's not enough tension to drive the AC when it's running. But they would have missed that because the pretensioner doctor didn't look at it. So it's like all these different things. And it doesn't even work for a car. Why would it work for a human being?
Well, and this is going to lead into the next story I got. But before we get to that, and to remind me, we're going to talk about something called it's called Guillain-Barré syndrome, but it's spelled Gilbert's.
No,
but someone decided to be fancy with the shit.
Some Frenchman.
Yeah. Now we're going to talk about some bourbon real quick because we're getting late in this episode. So a couple episodes ago, I told you that I was watching these the Bourbon Junkies on YouTube, and they gave me the recommendation for the New Riff Single Barrel, which we both really liked. Jared last week, he tried it, had him try it. He thought it was really good too. All three of us agreed it does not drink like 108 proof. It was much more mellow than that. But that's a $60 bottle, right? Mm-hmm. Now, one of the other bottles that they talked about that came in second place in their value bourbon run, blind. And they had, I think, 9 bourbons in it, 7 or 9. And the second lowest price bottle came in second place, and it only lost to first by a point. And it happened to be one of my favorite bourbons, or at least the lower proof version of it is. So the one that came in second was Old Forester 100. It's a $27 bottle. And Old Forester makes the watered down version or lower proof version called Old Forester 86, which is the one I really like. I'll be interested now though, because I've kind of like, I'm about 6 months behind you in your bourbon road, because you've started to lean toward the higher proof stuff, and I've kind of been hanging down by the lower proof stuff. I'll be interested to see how I feel. So we're going to try the 86 first, because if we drink the 100, the 86 is probably going to taste like water.
Yeah.
Just to see if I still like the 86. But two, I want to see how different the 100 is to the 86. And then for me, personally, I'm wondering if I should even buy the 86 anymore, because you're talking about both of them are $27.
Yeah.
So at one point, it's like, should I still buy the 86 or should I just skip it and go to the 100, because that's where my palate is now, right? So I've got it on ice as usual. You have it neat.
Yep.
Have you tried it yet?
I drank all mine. So yes.
Yeah, so I'm drinking the 86 right now. It's been in ice for a while, so it's probably more watered down than it normally would be. For me, you should smell that. Just open it and smell it. That one, for me, and I'm trying not to sound douchey, but it smells really sweet.
Yeah. Oh, it tastes sweet too.
Okay.
So
for me, like, the 86 has got a weird, like, I mean, I like it, but I feel like it has a little bit of a weird taste to it. But again, it might be because it's been sitting in a plastic
absorbing
cup.
all the toxins.
Probably. With ice in it. I mean, at this point, it's probably mostly water in here, right? Because I've had it in here for 38 minutes. Yeah.
So it's sweeter.
I just feel like it didn't have much taste to it. And the taste it did have was like, eh.
I mean, I like it. I can't put my finger on the bouquet. Like, I'm not picking up musty taint or anything in it.
I smell bananas.
Yeah.
And that first taste on my tongue was bananas.
No, I smell bananas too, which is weird. Maybe it's just because you said it, I smell it. But
are we becoming douchey bourbon guys? That we can actually smell shit? It doesn't just smell like rubbing alcohol anymore?
The juice.
The juice?
You say juice? No.
The pour?
Yeah. I don't mind saying pour, because that's a wine thing, where like a healthy pour is like a nice. You go to a bar, like, that's a healthy pour.
I feel like I fucked it up with ice.
You have another cup there? Just try something neat.
I will. I'm gonna try. I think I have to. Not the 86. I'm gonna try the 100.
Before I got into drinking it neat. I tried everything neat first, because to me it's just, the if you like it cold, I get the ice, but when it's in there for too long, it starts to just water it down too much, and then that last bit is just kind of meh. So you just have a little sip neat and see what you think of it. But I think that's the only way to really get a true taste of it without it being manipulated.
I feel like I'm going to have to go that route from now on.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times I'll pour it before we start the episode and it sits there for 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. And I think the water fucks the taste up.
Yeah.
And that might be where I kind of get that weird taste from it, right? Like, to me, it didn't taste as good as it normally did. Like, both of them kind of had a weird, funky taste to it.
Well, ice also has its own taste to it.
It came from my fucking horrible fridge.
Wait, it's not artisanal ice?
No, it is not. It is cold filtered, like the Rocky Mountains, of course.
No, I did drink an old fashioned over at La Posta in Severna Park, and they gave you a nice big round artisanal ice ball thing.
Ooh. All right. I probably should have gone somewhere in the middle. Because that's got some burn to it on the tongue. Mm-hmm.
That's another thing with drinking it neat is you can accurately describe or for yourself just know what sort of level of how it feels in the mouth without having to, if it's all watered down, you could take some super high test stuff, and put ice in there, and it's not as high test anymore.
Yeah. I think when I leave the ice in there, the water's mixing with it versus if I put the ice in and drink it quicker.
Yeah.
It's cold versus watered down.
Mm-hmm.
I tried it now. Again, I probably fucked it up because I went straight from having it on ice to having it neat directly after, and it was hot, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I probably went from a 50 proof to 100 proof.
Yeah.
Because of how watered down the first one was.
It's like when you were a kid and you were playing outside in the snow and your hands got all cold. Yeah. And you went and put it in a bathtub and it would burn, tingle.
Yes. That's exactly what happened. I did that in the bourbon size. Yeah. Oddly enough, man, I don't know if I like the taste of it though. Neat. It's got that same odd taste that it had when I had it on ice. There's a taste to it I can't put my finger on.
For me, it hits me in the soft palate.
Right. Yeah, that's what it's up there. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a taste to it, and I can't put my finger on it, and I don't really enjoy it.
I can't describe it. I can't say I enjoy it. I can't say I'm not seeking this flavor out.
Right.
Whatever it is, but I feel it on the soft palate. It's not necessarily bad.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Right.
It's not like I reject it because of it, but I'm certainly not going to go seek that flavor out. And if something only tasted like that, I wouldn't drink it at all. But it has some other redeeming qualities that I think for $27, why not? If you want to make some old fashions with it or mix, then I think you'd be good there too. Now I drink all mine neat, so if this was all that was sitting on my counter,
yeah,
then yeah, I would drink it. I drink all of it, because I don't collect them. I just drink them. So, but getting back to what you said about your palate and your likes, your preferences changing and maturing, my go-to was Basil Hayden.
Right.
I bought a bottle of Basil Hayden. Basil Hayden's only 80 proof. And it tasted good, but I was like, man, there's no kick to this. It's like if you're smoking cigars, you want that Robusto, cigar, or do you want a super mellow cigar? And I was like, this is a little too mellow. Right. There's not a whole lot, the flavor was good, but I still want that burn.
Yeah. I'm conflicted now. Because the 86 and the 100 were my go-tos. Mm-hmm. There was people have used to have the house beer, right? Mm-hmm. This would have been the house bourbon for me.
Yeah.
I don't know now. I don't know.
Now, I was over at another... I was at Della Notte. Mm-hmm. It's weird. I go to Italian places and get old fashions. But anyway, I was at Della Notte, and they were waiting for a table. So my wife and I went to the bar, and she got something. I don't know what it was. And I got an Old Forester old-fashioned. And I just asked for an old-fashioned. My wife was ordering, and the bartender asked what kind, and I just happened to look over and saw it sitting there. I was like, I have Old Forester. Because they had some better, higher qualities. I don't necessarily want to have an old-fashioned with that. Mm. So I went to this, and it was fine. So, and I want to say it was 86.
I think we almost got to do, and I don't know how low a price we should go, but do a blind of the low proofs or the budget bottles, kind of do our own budget blind.
Yeah.
Where we put 4, we can do this Old Forester 100, the 4 Roses, a Wild Turkey 101, and maybe even those Buffalo Trace.
Yeah.
Because that's only $35.
Oh, I can go lower. Go Fighting Cock, which is my jam. The thing is, I know it so well, I'd pick it because I know what it is.
The reason why, Old Forester and 4 Roses regular are widely available. Buffalo Trace not so much, but
Fighting Cock, I've only found it one place.
Yeah, and I think we would probably throw one more in at that. Maybe that's $17.92, although I think that's from the 30s range, but that's not bad. But
what was that stuff that I bought that was $12.
Is that Bardstown?
No, Old Bardstown is my 100% jam, and that's more closer to the Buffalo Trace range.
Okay.
But I love that stuff. But no, this was it's someone's name, of course, McKenna.
Oh, the McKenna 10. So you had the McKenna regular, and I like that one.
Yeah.
The McKenna 10-year is really good, but that's $65.
Yeah.
I think you could.
I think that McKenna regular. So, yeah, I think it was 17 out the door.
That's tough to beat.
Yeah.
Because that was smooth.
Yeah.
That was really smooth. That might be another one I got to try, and I might have to revisit a lot of these without ice.
Mm-hmm.
And I got those like rocks in there, like the non-ice.
Yeah,
in the freezer.
Keep things cold. Yeah,
I might do that, but I think I got to stop doing it with ice. I think it's messing.
Or go. I need to get one of those silicone molds to make the big, huge ice balls.
I got the ours are Harry Potter ones. So it's Hogwarts.
Yeah. So I'm not a nerd, so I don't. Well, I'm a nerd.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah.
Look, you want the Death Star, and we got Hogwarts.
Right, and Darth Vader would fuck all those little wizards up. Okay, any Jedi or Sith Lord would destroy them. This is like the nerd competition. What I really want to see is Darth Vader versus like those freaking stupid vampire kids, the vampire emo kids from the vampire movies.
Oh gosh. Robert Pattinson in that shit. Yeah, and what's her face?
Kristen Stewart.
She
looks awful.
She looks like a miserable individual.
Yeah.
Like, that's the one girl you see at the bar, you're like, I ain't going near that.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't look... like, there's no smile on her face.
Right.
The only advice I ever got from my father with girls was, date and marry the ones who smile a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That was his only words of wisdom.
Yeah.
It worked out.
Yeah.
I mean, but you see her; she's got the sour puss on all the time. Like, forget you.
Yeah.
You look miserable.
But
you're gonna make me miserable? I'm already miserable enough.
Right? Yeah. I don't need more. I don't need any help with that. Thanks.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm good.
But no, Vader would fuck them up.
Oh, what is that? Fuck it. It's not. I can't think of. For some reason, Passion of the Christ came in mind. That's a fucking different genre. That's a different.
That's not a pick me up movie.
No. Oh gosh. Whatever. Everyone knows what we're talking about.
Dude, why can't
werewolves and vampires?
Yeah.
Age-old story. Everyone's heard it.
Yeah. And I still maintain that Darth Vader would destroy them.
Darth Vader just walking around choke slamming people from a distance.
Yeah. Oh, you're a super fast vampire guy, glowy skin. Yeah. I'm gonna force choke you.
All right. So I want to go back to the topic with the medical stuff because I want to talk about the Guillain-Barré syndrome. All right. So I call him the weight loss doctor. He's a regular doctor, for fuck's sake. I was mentioning, and this goes back to the doctors not talking to each other, right? Mm-hmm. So I go to an oncologist every year. I talked about that, had cancer a while back. I go to the oncologist, and he checks my blood, because he's a hematologist. I had cancer of the blood. He checks my blood every year. He looks for certain markers in it. My bilirubin has been high for years. I mean, going
get you those lights to...
What's that?
You get those lights to sleep under?
With the bilirubin?
Yeah.
Oh, for jaundice? Yeah. And like
when the kids were babies, like little, like brand new babies.
Look, if I'm yellow, you got me, right? I wouldn't even know what I'm looking for. I don't have the yellow in my eyes or anything like that. But my bilirubin has been elevated for at least, 15 years? And it might have been before that. We're looking for it. Apparently, so Guillain-Barré syndrome, and I'm going to call it Gilbert syndrome from now on, because fuck whatever French pronunciation there is the evidence of high bilirubin, but no other blood markers to show poor liver function. Basically, it's just high bilirubin. Because your liver, I guess, in the red blood cell, your liver filters out red blood cells and gets rid of the old ones, but there's bilirubin in there. I don't know exactly how it works. But basically, if you got high bilirubin, it means your liver doesn't process it properly or whatever. And there are some symptoms that come along with it. And let me see if these sound familiar from what we were talking about earlier. Mm-hmm. Nausea, dizziness, fogginess, lightheaded, and and I don't know the right word. Heavy tiredness.
Fatigue.
It's fatigue, but on a different, heavy fatigue.
Right.
So, basically trying to wake up in the morning and you feel like an elephant is on your head. Like, trying to get your head off the pillow,
Yeah.
right? Or you could sleep for 12, 15 hours at a time. Well, that fits me to a T. So I'm talking to the doctor, and I mentioned, hey, my bilirubin's been really high, and so he starts looking through the blood work because he can see all the blood work from years past and whatever. But then he's looking at the other markers. I said, well, this looks like Guillain syndrome or Gilbert syndrome. And I said, oh, really? What's that? So I'm looking into it, and I found out those symptoms. And I texted my brother because apparently it's genetic. And I said, hey, do you have Gilbert syndrome? And he goes, no, but my 3 boys have it. And I'm like, is that... And my nephew had gone into the hospital to go check for some stuff because and this was years back, 6, 7 years back. And apparently that's what he was in there for. They were looking for it, and they eventually just came up with Gilbert syndrome.
Yeah.
The problem is it's not considered, it's not fatal. It doesn't lower you. It doesn't reduce your lifespan. It's basically just something you live with. Your body just lives with high bilirubin. No big deal.
Right.
And if it gets too high, you get a lot of those symptoms, right? And they can make it so you can lower the bilirubin, which will help. But he basically just said, no, you don't do anything about it.
Just suck it up.
You just suck it up. And apparently that's what they told. That's what they told my nephews. Mm-hmm. You're just going to live with it.
Is there anything that you can do to change it, to reduce symptoms, anything like that?
I mean, from what I've read, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of, because it's pretty rare, I guess. But there isn't a whole bunch on it. I mean, most of the stuff I found was from the UK or the Cleveland Clinic. And so my mind's trying to solve a problem, and I'm like, well, what if there was something that could lower my bilirubin? Is the high bilirubin what causes the side effects? And so I still don't know, right? Because the response from the guy who told me I have it was, you just live with it. There's nothing you really do about it. Mm-hmm. It's not harming you. But what if it's what's causing the dizziness, or what if it's what's causing the panic attacks?
Yeah.
What if that is the underlying issue that we need to be addressing? But I don't who can I don't know who to go. And then he was like, well, maybe you can go see a liver specialist. My nephew saw a liver specialist, and they don't do anything.
Yeah.
No one has a clue how to manage this. But if that's what's my issue, well, okay, then me doing all this other shit isn't going to help me. So am I chasing my tail?
Yeah.
And why am I the one that has to figure this shit out?
Right. When you're paying all these other people.
Right. I mean, there's someone with an MD after their name that I feel like should be figuring this out for me.
Yeah. I have no letters after my name.
Right. I got 0 letters.
I mean,
I barely graduated, for fuck's sake.
C's get degrees, baby.
Yes. Yes, that's been my motto through life. And guess what? I make a good living with that. I ended up with a good job from that.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's part of this medical system. How many other people are out there? I mean, think about it. I found out I got this by some random happenstance that I brought up to this doctor.
Yeah.
Like, the oncologist didn't fucking see this for 15 years?
All the ologists missed it.
I mean, this oncologist is considered to be one of the greatest oncologists in the Mid-Atlantic for hematology.
Yeah.
For blood cancers. He's considered one of the best. Mm-hmm. You're telling me my guy didn't think about this?
Again, I think it comes down to that hyper specialization. If you're only the doctor, the mechanic that works on the AC compressor, you're not looking at the belt, you're not looking at the pretensioner, you're not looking at they might not even be looking at if the engine's even running.
Right.
So I think that's probably one of the issues. And then also, not to bring these assholes into it, I guarantee you, if Pfizer or Moderna or Eli Lilly or any of these companies came up with a drug for Gilbert, you'd see 85,000 commercials for it, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, you got Gilbert. Here's drugs for it."
Side effects or death, though.
Yeah,
If I take it, there's a chance
you
of
might
death.
die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I might bleed out of my ass.
Patients should not take Gilbert drug if they're allergic to the ingredients of Gilbert drug. Oh, thank you. Thanks for telling me.
I hate when they do that.
It'll be a bunch of old boomers rowing canoes and freaking running marathons and shit.
Yes.
Like that's what the commercial would be. So yeah, so wait for them to develop a drug for the condition, then they'll have a way to sell.
There's always a boomer who's mountain biking in them too.
Yeah,
it's like hiking, mountain biking, rowing.
Yeah, fucking
triathlon.
Boomer with abs. Screw you, dude.
Right.
And your wife, who's also a boomer, is a freaking dime piece. She just has gray hair right. And abs too.
They painted some wrinkles on a 25-year-old's face, hoping you would notice.
Yeah, and it's a diabetes drug. Like neither of you fuckers have diabetes.
Oh my god, there's one of them. One of the drugs. It's like rituximab or something. It's like a drug for, and dude, I shit you not, it's like rizikizmizmizmizmi. Like, how many fucking Z's did you throw in there?
Yeah. Can we buy a vowel?
Right, dude, I swear to God, like, the name was like so long for whatever disease it was, or for the drug. So the ingredient in the drug is this huge long name, and they short it down to something they could say real quick. Sky Rizzy.
Oh God.
Rizikizmizma. It's like it's like the name of the full drug. Like,
also the starting defenseman for the Kazakhstan national hockey team.
Yes. Rizikizmazimov. Like, what?
I think he was a 10th round draft pick by the Rangers.
Yeah, like, dude, those commercials crack me up. But then I'm like, why the fuck is this allowed? Like, do not take if you're allergic to Rizzy. How the fuck do I know if I'm allergic to it? You won't tell me what's in it.
Right. The patient should contact their physician immediately upon death.
Right.
Huh?
Yeah.
I think that's too late.
Right. I don't understand how it's legal. I can understand, because someone makes a lot of people make a shit ton of money off of it, and so who cares if a few people fucking die?
Yeah.
And the funny part, like, people are like, oh, I can't, when they talk about the COVID stuff, you're telling me they would create a drug and kill a whole bunch of people just for money? Now you're getting it.
And this surprises you?
Right. Regular people don't matter to those people.
Oh.
They're just bodies.
Right.
If they kill a few, yeah.
They don't.
And the funny part, regular people can't comprehend that.
Right.
Oh, you're just being really cynical. No one would ever do that. Yeah, they fucking would.
Right.
Are you kidding me? They would kill their own mother for $1 million.
Yeah.
And that's if the mother was
Not to mention
nice.
your mom.
What?
They kill your mom for 100.
It's kind of, and then they wonder why you don't forgive them. Like, a prime example of this is Chris Cuomo. This guy was on, and Don Lemon's the same way. These two guys were on CNN, who was supposed to be the fair and balanced people, right? Yeah. And they were on there demonizing people who wouldn't wear a mask and wouldn't get the jab. And lo and behold, all the shit they exposed on CNN and how they demonized one side and praised the other. And just so happens they were completely fucking wrong. Mm-hmm. And they both had to go away for a while. They just disappeared. Chris Cuomo ends up on Newsmax or News Nation, mm-hmm. which nobody fucking knows where to find that shit. So nobody's watching his show. So what does he do? He hooks up with a guy named Patrick Bet-David. And for those who don't know who Patrick Bet-David is, he's got one of the largest podcasts in America. And he owns a company called Valuetainment, which is one of the worst fucking names for a company I've ever friggin' heard. But this guy, he's got a very popular podcast, and he's trying to grow a network of shows. Mm-hmm. So what does he do? He brings on Chris fucking Cuomo. Well, Patrick Bet-David didn't have that kind of fan base where he could bring on a Chris Cuomo and not get shit for it. Mm-hmm. Like, if you want to have an audience that thinks for themselves and you want to speak to that kind of an audience that's going to question things, you brought in the worst fucking guy for that. And the guy, and like, you look at his tweets on Twitter, the guy's belligerent about it all. Well, how are we supposed to know? How are we supposed? Motherfucker, people were yelling at you when you were demonizing a whole group of people. They were yelling back at you, "Hey, motherfucker, you're not doing any research.
Yeah,
you don't know what the fuck you're talking about," and you kept saying the shit. Well, how are we supposed to know? Because people were yelling it at you. That's how you were supposed to fucking know. You were supposed to be a journalist on CNN and do some journalistic work,
right? And
you just ate whatever they fucking told you to say. And pardon me, if just because now you're hooked up with a guy I listen to, that I'm going to think that all is well.
Yeah.
No, fuck you, because you were the asshole who was trying to demonize someone like me.
Mm-hmm.
For thinking, and you got a lot of other people to think like you were talking. So don't say you didn't believe that shit. You were just doing your job.
Yeah.
No, fuck you. You did something far worse to the American public than maybe even the fucking drug companies were doing. And maybe you were paid by them to do it, but I don't know. But you were the one in front of everyone's fucking face and you did that shit.
Well, they are paid by them.
Sure.
Because do you really think that these drug companies need to advertise?
No.
Their stupid drugs no, they do it so they can capture that medium. Right? Why is everything brought to you by Pfizer? It's brought to you by Pfizer because Pfizer's throwing money around and owning it.
But here's the thing, though. They want you and I to go into the doctor's office and question the guy with the MD after his name and say, hey, why aren't you prescribing me this drug? On TV, I saw that it can be used for my specific disease. That's how they found a way to get to the doctors without going to every doctor's office. Yeah. They just go on TV. They shout this commercial out to 500,000, 1 million people, 2 million people at a time. Fuck it, we'll go to the Super Bowl, 15 million people at a time. I got 3 of those 7 symptoms. Maybe I won't blow it out my asshole if they give me that drug. Maybe this is my cure-all drug. And that's how they get you to... this is how they get the doctors to prescribe it now. They're not going to the doctor. They go to the doctor, they give them a couple samples, so when I go ask about it, the doctor gives me a sample, and if it mildly fucking works, now the doctor is going to prescribe it to me.
Yeah.
And that's how they get doctors to prescribe this shit.
And then they have all the... when you're there, the reminders, like the doctor's writing down with the freaking Moderna pen.
Yep.
And on the Pfizer paper, and there's all the little things, and oh, hey, look, there's the poster of our boomers with abs. There they are running their marathon. So,
you got a pamphlet up there for Rizica Ms. Bab. Do I have that?
I must.
Do I need that?
The TV told me I did.
I'm telling you, man. That's how they're doing it now.
And for all the drugs, like all the diabetes drugs, there aren't fewer diabetics. All the SSRIs, there aren't fewer depressed people. The numbers are going up. So,
and when the drug goes out of patent, you want to know what they do?
They change the formula by a molecule.
They tweak or they find a new use for it.
Yeah,
and then they could reapply for the patent for another 25 years. And it's like, fuck me, man. Like, they got you by the balls any which way you see it. And we're just stuck. So, hopefully, by the time next week rolls around, we're both still around. And we haven't taken Rizica Mizzy and died from anal fissures. I'm pretty sure that's a side effect.
Why not? Everything else is.
We want to thank Adam Chubbuck. Sorry, Adam. I want to thank Adam Chubbuck for...
Wanted to follow up the anal fissures?
Yeah, right.
Sorry, dude.
Sorry, man. You knew what you were doing when you sponsored the show. Feelings over facts, right? I want to thank Adam Chubbuck with TACMD.com. Team Alpha Charlie with Douglas Realty in Pasadena, Maryland. If you are looking for a home or looking to sell your home, Adam is the person you want to contact. I guarantee that he will get you the best deal whether you're buying or selling your home. TACMD.com. We appreciate you listening. Like, subscribe, comment, share, and we will see you next week.